Hey guys, welcome back here to Intuitive Angling. Appreciate you guys swinging by the channel to check out today's video. And guys, one of the most popular video ideas that I have, or the videos that I do, are going back in time and talking about old stories on the tournament trail. And I've got one today, guys. If there are, out of all the tournaments I fished, which has been a bunch of them, probably over 500 national tournaments, I've got one tournament that was literally the tournament from hell I'm going to tell you guys about. So we're going to get into that in today's video and sort of relive this. It's something that happened about probably 20 years ago. So we're going to get into that today. Also, guys, thank you very much, man. Just a real quick reminder. Appreciate everybody that's taking time to subscribe here at Intuitive Angling. Thank you very much if you signed up to be a channel or Patreon member, big time. And also, guys, thank you very much if you've been using and bookmarking my tackle warehouse link that I put in every video description for your tackle purchases. All that stuff is really helping the channel out in light of everything that YouTube has been doing to make it tough on the bass fishing creators. So thank you very much for me and the family here if you've been doing that. Okay, guys, this was an FLW tournament that I fished up at Lake Champlain. Like I said, this has been probably 20 years ago. This was the final event of the year. It was a lot on the line because going into this event, I was right on the bubble for qualifying for the Forest Wood Cup. So I have a lot on the line, last tournament of the year. And it's a long drive from Missouri up to Lake Champlain. So anyway, back then I was triple towing, and several of us were doing it. In other words, I had my pickup truck, 3/4 ton pickup. I had a 25-foot fifth wheel, and I had a trailer hitch on the back of the fifth wheel towing my boat. Now, I never had any problems doing this. I mean, it was legal in all the states that I was at. I never had any issues with it. Never got stopped, never had any problems. I did it for like 5 or 6 years, and several people did. There was a lot of guys like Dave Lefebvre did it, and I think Todd Faircloth. There was several people that were doing it. So anyway, let's lay out how this tournament went. On the way up there, or about halfway up there, I stopped at this, it was just like a RV type park, and anyway, I pulled over there, set up for the night and everything. I had the fifth wheel and everything set up there and where it was. And I get up and I had my boat covered up. And I get up there the next morning. When I woke up the next morning, I went outside and I saw that my boat tarp was half off the boat. And I'm like, what the heck, And of course, when I walked over there closer, a couple of my storage compartments were open. And what they had done is they'd gotten in there and they'd taken about probably 5 or 6 of my rods. They had cut the wires to my depth finder on my console. And I don't know if they got scared off or something, but they had left the depth finder was there. The cords, the cables had just been cut. I was missing 5 or 6 rods, and I had a big duffel bag full of like rain gear and all that type of stuff, and it was sitting on the top of the boat. So the only thing that I can figure is they grabbed the rods, and they must have got, and I can't believe that I didn't hear them because I was in the camper, but they must have been super quiet, which is really weird for an RV park. And they got the 6 rods, they cut my depth finders off, and that was that. So it's a sick feeling. If you guys have ever had that happen to you, and I've had it happen to me 3 or 4 times, it's just a sick feeling that just makes you want to find those people and just make them disappear, into turtle food or something. I was so freaking pissed about that, just the idea of it. So anyway, I was fortunate enough, once I got up there, they had the service crew and everything, so I got my electronics, fixed on the console, got the new cord, so I was good to go with that. And I had enough extra rods where I could fish the tournament. So fast forward to the tournament, this is the hard part for the whole thing. This was a high stress tournament because, like I said, on the bubble for the championship. I like Champlain, everything, on the line all year long for this. So let's fast forward to the last day of the tournament. I was doing pretty decent in the tournament. I was like, I don't know, they paid 50 places, $10,000 down to 50th. And I think that I was in like 45th place or something like that going into the last day of the tournament. And I figured that I needed to, if I stayed in the top 50 in the tournament, I'd not only qualify for the Forest Wood Cup, but I'd win 10 grand for the year. So it was tough fishing that day. I was doing pretty good leading up to it. And during that day, we got into the last day of the tournament, and I was struggling to catch them. And I had 4 decent fish in the boat. I had 4 fish that probably weighed, I'm going to guess, I don't know, 13, right around 13 pounds in that neighborhood. I only needed one more fish. If I just got a 2-pounder, that would give me 15 pounds. And I know for sure that I figured I needed about 13 or 14 pounds to make the top 50. So I'm right on the bubble as it is. It's like, if the fishing's tough, I could probably squeak in not only for a check, but for the championship. But if they catch them decently, I'm going to drop out. So I've got around 13 pounds or something like that. In the back of my mind, I'm thinking I need about 14 pounds to make the check and to qualify for the championship based upon the points. So it's running down. We're running out of time. We're down to like the last 30 minutes. And on the last flight, I'm like the next to the last boat that's due to weigh in. I got 4 fish in the boat, and at Champlain, you got to get your limit. Everybody's going to catch a limit, but for some reason, the area I was fishing, it got really tough. The wind slicked down, completely smooth, and time's ticking away. And I've got 30 minutes, and I got 20 minutes, and I got 15 minutes, and I got 10 minutes. So anyway, I've got probably 5 minutes left to fish before I've got to run back in. I'm probably about, 20 miles away from the takeoff. And that's cutting it close. I don't have any room to spare, but I know that I've got to have another fish. So anyway, I've got less than 5 minutes to fish. And guys, I make a long cast out there, just a calm, slick water. Everything's, no boats are there because I'm the last flight. A lot of people have already headed back to weigh in. And I'm working a topwater lure, and I'm working that thing out there. I make a long cast, super long cast. I'm working it out there, and a freaking giant gets it. I mean, I could just, this thing freaking flushed it. Big, gigantic smallmouth. So I set the hook on it and started fighting it, and right off the bat, it jumped about probably 4 feet in the air, and it's at least a 5-pounder. It's the biggest fish I've hooked all week long, a giant smallmouth, and it's way out there. So I'm fighting it to the boat, and I'm running out of time. I've got 5 minutes, and I've got to get back. And this giant smallmouth is green out at the end of the cast, and it's jumping all the way back to the boat. I'm talking, it jumped 3 or 4 times, 2 to 3 foot in the air, just all over the place. And I'm like, God, stay down. And my partner's there with the net, and I'm like, my heart's beating 100 miles an hour. Water's gin clear. And I get the fish close to the boat, and at Champlain, you had about 15 foot of visibility. So I've got this fish, the fish is under the boat, about 5 or 6 feet under the boat, and I can see it perfectly. Big, gigantic smallmouth. All of a sudden, I'm fighting it. I'm looking down there. My partner's standing. I'm trying to bring the fish up, and the fish sort of turns its head like that and opens its mouth, and the plug comes out of its mouth. The topwater comes out of its mouth. And I'm like, I felt like somebody had just freaking kicked me in the nuts as hard as you could get kicked. I'm like, oh my God. So I'm like, I don't know, looking back, I don't know if I've ever been so devastated at anything that happened in fishing, because I knew what was fixing to happen. So run back to weigh in, and of course we get back in there, and I've only got 4 fish. I wind up missing the money by 2 ounces, and I missed the force wood cut by 1 place. And I've got this 5-pounder on there that would have given me 18 pounds for the day, and I probably would have been fishing the last day, but instead I didn't make a check. I missed it by just a hair, and I missed qualifying for my 10th force wood cut by just 1 place. So, and it's the end of the season, and it's like, you gotta be kidding me. It's like, I'm just like, I can't explain to you how devastating that is, and how disheartening, and how it just makes you want to quit fishing tournaments when you work all year long and have that happen. So anyway, I'm driving back home, and I'm going through Nashville, Tennessee, pulling the triple toe. I'm going right through the middle of Nashville, and you guys, if you've ever driven through Nashville, this was probably, it was afternoon sometime, but it's like 5 lanes of busy traffic everywhere. So I'm pulling my triple toe through the 5-lane traffic I'm like pretty much in the mid part of the lane there. And all of a sudden, I'm going like 50, 55 miles an hour. I never drive fast with that. All of a sudden, the car in front of me, I see the hood of the car flips up like this, and this dude slams his brakes on in front of me. And I'm getting ready just to plow him in the rear big time, because he just locked him up in the middle of the freeway. He just freaked out and reacted when his hood came up like that. So I'm just getting ready to hit him, going 50 miles an hour, and I go, I got one or two decisions. I can either whip this thing over and miss him. I didn't even have time to look what was in the next lane, or I'm going to hit this guy. So I just instinctively whipped the truck to the left. Thankfully, just out of the freaking miracle of the universe, there wasn't anybody in that lane there. And I'm like losing control of the fifth wheel. It's going all over the place, fishtailing. Finally got it under control and drove back home with that. But that event there, I got rid of the fifth wheel. I said, never again. I said, this is way too dangerous. And it just, that tournament, it just like from the time I left, it was a freaking nightmare. But that's one of the things, that's one of the reasons that I do not miss fishing the national circuits now, because that type of stuff happens a lot. It's like you work your butt off, you spend a ton of money, and you have that type of stuff happen. And you have these, it's almost like they're sort of like professional injustices. And what happens over time, and this is one of the reasons that guys my age, they seem like they're crotchety and sort of cranky a little bit, is we have, if you've done it like 40 years competitively like I have, you've racked up a series of these injustices that I call them. Younger guys haven't been around long enough to experience those injustices, so they're still full of the vigor of life and the wonderment of traveling. But after you've done this and had this stuff happen for 30 years, it weighs on you, and it really affects your attitude and your whole perception of what fishing is. But anyway, guys, just wanted to share that with you. That is one tournament that I never want to relive. It absolutely sucked every single part of it. I mean, to this day, it even hurts talking and doing this video on it. That's how painful it was at the time. But I just wanted to share that with you guys, and hope you're well. We'll talk later.